Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Hatha practice. For props for today, a couple of hard blocks and a soft block will likely come in handy, and then anything else you like to practice with. When you're ready, I'll invite you to come to a child's pose to get started, but if you'd rather start in a seated meditation or down on the back, you can do that too. And take your time to set up for the shape. So if you need to add any padding for the knees, if you need to bring any extra props in for the chest or to support the head, then go for it. And choose whatever version of the shape feels the most comfortable for you for today. So knees can be wide or together, arms can be forward or back. Maybe give the hips a gentle rock side to side, let them settle. Maybe a gentle rock of the head side to side, softening the forehead. Take a moment to check in here and see if there's any adjustment you can make to your shape that would make it just a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more easeful. And then when you feel ready, come and find your stillness. Either closing down the eyes or softening the gaze. And start to bring your focus and your attention to the body. And taking that scan through from the feet to the head, just to notice everything along the way. And building on this awareness of the body, start to notice your breath as well. Notice the effect of the breath on the body. And only as you feel ready, invite the breath to deepen. Please stay in stillness for as long as you need. And only when you feel ready from your child's pose, extend your arms all the way to the top of the mat. And press down through the fingertips, lift the elbows up, and find a little stretch for the shoulders here, maybe a wiggle side to side.
Maybe lifting the forehead and walk the hands towards the top right corner and maybe a little bit beyond. Lowering down here, finding that stretch through the left side of the body. Notice if the hips shifted off center. See if you can bring them back to the midline. Find that stretch from the left hip all the way up through the left side ribs into the left shoulder, outer left arm. And with an inhale breath, lift and walk everything to center, and then over to the left-hand side. And the side might feel a little different. It might need a little something different. But look for that same sensation, that same stretch through the whole right side. As you're ready with an inhale, walk everything back to center, and then pause for a moment. And from here, pull the body through, come to lying down on the belly, and you can keep your elbows underneath you. Setting up for a Sphinx pose, so just take a moment to get comfortable here. Elbows can be roughly underneath the shoulders. They can also be further forward if you want a more gentle back bend. If you need a little more height, you can bring props underneath the elbows as well. It's still early in the practice, so listen to your low back and find something that feels relatively gentle. And see what the rest of the spine wants to do, maybe keeping the gaze slightly lifted and forward. If you're doing so, you might still keep a slight tuck of the chin in towards the throat, finding a little length through the back side of the neck as well. Notice your shoulders here, see if it feels like they're shrugging a little bit, and imagine that you can find a little more distance from the shoulders to the ears. Let the pelvis be heavy. Notice if the feet are holding the legs in a specific place, and see if you can relax that a little bit. And then breathe here. With each inhale breath, maybe noticing a sense of space in the body. And with each exhale, maybe you can find a sense of release. And see if you benefit from a little more time here, and you're welcome to stay. Otherwise, as you feel ready, slowly lower the spine down to the floor. You can rest the forehead on the palms, maybe rock the hip side to side a little bit. And then slide the left knee up towards the left, maybe to about hip height. Left foot can be closer to the right leg or a little further away, see what feels best for the leg. If you like to turn the gaze towards the left as well, then go for it. And if what you need is a little movement here, you can rock the hips a little bit or the shoulders, see what feels best. Maybe rocking that right foot side to side. Bringing the head back to center, re-extending the left leg, and then you can switch, bend the right knee, maybe take the gaze over to the right when you're ready. Bringing the head back to center, re-extending the right leg, and give the hips just a gentle rock side to side. Awesome. From here, you can bring your elbows back underneath. Maybe come up onto the knees as well. We're going to set up for a side plank on the left forearm. So you can bring the left forearm roughly underneath you and a bit across the mat. And then using the right hand for support, you can come on to both feet and have the feet about as wide as the mat. And then dip the heels over towards the left. Now check in here. If you need something a little more gentle, you could touch the left knee down to the floor. Otherwise, keep grounding that left forearm into the floor. Left elbow is roughly underneath the shoulder. And just make sure that that feels okay there. If there's pinching in the shoulder or anything like that, you might adjust. Maybe take the elbow a little further away. Right hand can be wherever you like to take it, maybe up and over for a little more side body stretch. And make sure you're breathing here. Option to close down the eyes. Last couple of deep breaths. Awesome. The right hand can come back down and gently lower down onto the left hip. You can start to walk the left arm a little further away from you here, lowering down onto the left-hand side. And then see what feels comfortable. You can stay a little more upright, maybe with the left elbow bent, or you can rest the head down onto the bicep. You can stack the legs now as well, straight down. Working with the top leg, so you can use the right hand for balance. You could also bend the left knee. And then working with the right leg as you inhale, flex the foot and lift it any amount up off the floor, straight up. And then with your exhale, gently lower it back down. Notice if the hips are starting to roll out from under you. Keep that right hip stacked on top of the left, and then keep going with your breath at your pace. The whole inhale to lift, and the whole exhale to lower. Last couple. Last one. Awesome. As the right foot comes down, re-extend the left leg if it's bent, and then bend the right knee and step the right foot roughly in front of the left knee.
Again, you can stay down or you can be up on the elbow. Now we'll play with lifting the left foot, so you can flex the leg, and then with an inhale, lift the left foot any amount up, and with your exhale, lower down. And it might not be a very big range of motion, and keep going with your breath. Last one. Awesome. You can keep the legs as they are. Roll onto your bum and bend the left knee in. And setting up for a thread the needle shape. If you need a pillow, you can use one of your blocks. And check in here, you can have the right foot flex, see what the right knee needs to feel supported, and maybe this is enough of a stretch. Or if you like, you can reach through, catch hold of the hamstring, maybe the knee. A little movement side to side might feel nice here, or maybe some circles with the low back. And take a few deep breaths. Awesome. Gently release the left foot and the right. And take the feet a little bit wider apart. You can either rest the knees in together and pause, or give yourself a windshield wiper side to side. Awesome. And then when you feel ready, you can roll over onto the right hand side and come to a tabletop position. We're going to set up for that second side plank here. So lower the right forearm to the floor, right elbow can be slightly forward of the shoulder, and then find an angle that feels comfortable for you. Palm flat or maybe a fist. And then you can lift the knees up with the feet nice and wide, roll the heels down towards the right, and keep the pelvis elevated. Start to stack the left shoulder on top of the right. The left arm can be up and over, whatever you did on the first side. And keep breathing here. Last couple of deep breaths. The left hand can lower for support. Slowly lower the left hip down to the floor and start to slide that right arm out from underneath you. And stacking the legs, doing whatever you need for balance, maybe bending the right knee a little bit, left hand can stay down, and keeping the left hip directly above the right. And then working with your breath, flexing the left foot. With your inhale, start to lift the left leg straight up any amount. And with your exhale, lower it back down. Your breath, your pace, keep going.
Final one. Awesome. Extending the right leg if it was bent, and then step the left foot just in front of the right knee, wherever feels comfortable. Working with the right leg now. Keep the hip stacked as best you can, flexing the right foot. Inhale, lift it any amount, and exhale, lower. And keep going with your breath. The whole inhale to lift, and the whole exhale to lower. Last one. As it touches down, you can roll onto your back, keeping the left leg crossed and setting yourself up for that thread the needle. You can stay right here, maybe flexing the left foot to keep the left knee steady, and maybe you're reaching through to catch hold of the knee or the hamstring. Stillness or movement, take whatever you need here, and enjoy that stretch through the outer left hip. Awesome. Gently release the right leg and the left. Maybe pausing in stillness with the knees together, or you can start your windshield wiper straight away. Awesome. And then walk the legs in together. We're going to set up for butterflies, so soles of the feet together. Let the knees open nice and wide. If you have hard blocks, you could take one under each hip just to support the body a little bit more, help the inner leg muscles release. You could also experiment with where the feet are relative to the pelvis, either bring them in a little closer or maybe pushing them a little further. Hands can be somewhere on the body or beside it, into the floor overhead. And with each inhale, that sense of space. With each exhale, that grounding, and that release. You don't have to move until you feel ready to. When you feel ready, you can reach down for the knees and gently guide them back together. And collecting the knees into the chest and wrap the arms around the shins and give yourself a squeeze and a gentle rock side to side. And the hands behind the knees start to rock up and down the spine, mindful of the neck here. Awesome. And then starting to build up a little momentum, and maybe you'll come up to a seat. And once you do, you can roll over the knees and come to a tabletop position. And taking the hands slightly forward, spreading the fingers out nice and wide, gripping the finger pads into the floor. And then as you're ready, you can tuck the toes, lift the knees, and find your downward facing dog. It'll probably feel good to stretch out the backs of the legs a little bit here, so you can do that by pedaling or pausing or any movement that feels good. If there's anything else you need to set up for your shape, check in. Make sure that the shoulders feel steady and supportive. Adjusting the arms if need be, or you can play with the proportions of your shape. Pelvis lifting nice and high. Spine and head heavy towards the floor. Breath steady here. Gaze can be between the feet, or you can close down the eyes. Take a few breaths here to check in. And from your downward facing dog, take a deep inhale through the nose. A deep releasing sigh. Once more. Now inhale, bend the knees and look forward. As you exhale, walk your feet towards your hands and come to a forward fold at the top of the mat. As generous a bend to the knees as you need. You can have your hard blocks nearby as well, in case the floor feels a little far away. If you like to take a bind, maybe hands to opposite elbows. If you like a little movement here, maybe a rock side to side, or you can pedal the legs. If there's pressure in the low back, you could come up and pause in a halfway lift at any point. Be wherever you need to be. And then bringing the hands to the legs, and slowly start to walk the hands up, and slowly start to round the spine up, and pausing along the way anywhere you need. If you feel a little lightheaded, you can always come down part way again. As you arrive upright, you're welcome to take the arms up overhead, let everything balance. And then coming to your mountain pose, releasing the arms, softening the shoulders. And slowly roll the shoulders all the way up to the ears, and then bring them back and down. A couple more. Last one. Shoulders soft, feet gently pressing into the floor. Find the lifting through the crown of the head, maybe a softening for the facial expression. Hands can be wherever they landed.
And with an inhale breath, as you feel ready, circle the arms all the way up to the ceiling. As you exhale, bring the hands through center, forward fold. A halfway lift to lengthen. And then plant the palms and step back to plank pose, top of a push-up. Inhale breath, lengthen from the heels to the crown of the head. And with your exhale, lower all the way down to the belly. Untuck the toes, cobra pose as you inhale, lift the heart's base. And then exhale, lower it back down. And twice more, inhale. And exhale. Last one. And then inhale, press up to tabletop. And with your exhale, find your downward facing dog. And with your inhale, lift the right leg up behind. And then step the right foot forward between the hands. And the back knee stays lifted. You might widen your base a little bit just to keep balance. And then when you're ready, come on up and find a high lunge. Adjust anything you need here. Notice if the right hip feels like it's further forward than the left. See if you can encourage it back a little bit. And keep the back foot active here. As you're ready, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. And find a little softness for the shoulders. If balance feels wobbly, find a gaze point to keep you steady. And deep inhale here. As you exhale, twist towards the bent knee, so towards the right, arms find a T. And gaze can stay forward the whole time. Inhale, breath, reach back up. And same side as you exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And two more. Last one. Inhale, reach up. Now drop the left heel to the floor, open up to a warrior two. And you can bring the right foot to center a little bit, adjust what you need in your stance, and then we'll extend the right leg towards straight. And setting up for triangle, so with an inhale, reach forward as far as you can, and then hinge here. Right hand can find a shin, block, or floor. Left hand can stay at the hip or reach up towards the ceiling. Notice your legs here, keep them active. Notice if your bum wants to slide out behind you, see if you can keep it to midline. Arms reaching apart, find that length from the tailbone to the crown. And breathe here. Awesome. You can keep the left arm reaching up. We're going to start to bend into that right knee now to set up an extended side angle. So I would advise you to keep your block because we will head to half moon eventually. But you can also work with the elbow on the knee if that feels better for you. You might take the left arm up and over now. Find a strong line from the pinky toe edge of the left foot to the left fingertips. You're welcome to stay in your extended side angle, and you can skip the half moon if you like. Or if you're coming with me to half moon, maybe you're lowering the left hand down to the hip first. And gaze down to the floor. Any height setting on your prop, you might take it a bit forward of the foot. You can hop the back foot a little closer, and then start to rock your weight forward over that front foot. As the weight comes forward, the left leg can lift. Imagine that you're lifting the left hip so that it's stacking directly on top of the right hip. Left foot is flexed regardless of how high it's lifting, and maybe the left arm reaches towards the ceiling. And find that sense of space from the left heel all the way to the crown of the head, from the right hand to the left. Breathe here. Last couple of deep breaths. Awesome. Left hand can find the hip. Left knee can start to turn towards the chest. Turn the gaze towards the floor, and then we'll come all the way up, bringing the left knee with us.
So check in here, adjust what you need. Hand can find the wall straight away if you need it. Otherwise, we'll set up for a twist. So left hand can stay at the left hip, right hand finds that left knee. And just find a little connection there. So press the knee into the hand into the knee for stability. Notice if the left hip is higher than the right, maybe lower it a little bit. Left arm can reach high. Keep gazing forward. Deep inhale. And then with your exhale, start to turn the chest open towards the left. Left arm reaches behind you. Gaze can stay forward or follow. Breathe here. Embrace the wobbles. And if you fall out, just come on back in. Awesome. Keep the knee lifted, but release it. Inhale, breath. Return to center. Reach up. And then with your exhale, release the arms. Give the legs a good shake out. Anything else that needs it, roll the shoulders. And then come and find your mountain pose. And close down the eyes. Find your breath. Reconnect. Notice if the mind starts to wander. Gently invite your focus and your attention back to the body and to the breath. Only when you feel ready, inhale breath, circle the arms up towards the ceiling, and hinge forward, forward fold. Halfway lift, lengthen. And plant the palms and step to plank pose. Deep inhale here, and then lower all the way down to the belly. 3 cobras with your breath. Last one. And then inhale to tabletop and exhale to downward facing dog. And check in here. Adjust anything that you need, stillness or movement. And take a couple of deep breaths. And then when you're ready, with an inhale, lift the left leg up behind you. With your exhale, step the left foot forward between the hands. Adjust your stance as needed, and when you're ready, come on up for a high crescent lunge. Adjust clothing, hips, stance, anything you need. You can widen your base if it feels a little wobbly. And check in with the hips, see if you can keep the pelvis square. And the arms reach up, find your gaze point. Deep inhale. With your exhale, twist towards the left, arms to a T. Inhale, center, and same side. And keep going. Last couple. Inhale, reach up. Drop the right heel, turn the chest to the right for your warrior 2. Maybe right foot or left foot to center a little bit here. And again, we won't stay, so you can extend the left leg. Inhale, breath, reach forward as far as you can. And then hinge for triangle. Right hand, shin, block, floor. Or left hand rather. Right hand can be hip or up towards the ceiling. Notice where your pelvis is. Keep it midline. Keep the feet active to the floor to help support the rest of the body. Gazing down towards the floor, and then start to bend into the left knee for extended side angle. You can adjust your block or bring the elbow to the knee. Keep that pinky toe edge of the right foot really anchoring to the floor. And top arm can reach right up and over now. Maybe that stretch from that right heel to the right fingertips. And chest open and proud towards the side wall. Awesome, you can stay here, or if you're coming to half moon, maybe right hand to the right hip. And then take that left hand a little further forward of the left foot, maybe hopping the back foot in. Start to transfer the weight forward over that left leg. Feel the right leg lift up behind you any amount. As best you can, stacking that right hip on top of the left. Right foot stays flexed, regardless how high the leg is lifted. And keep breathing here. Maybe top arm reaches towards the ceiling. Awesome. Right hand towards the hip, right knee towards the chest. Turn the chest down, and then we'll come all the way up. Bringing the right knee with you. Find your balance here. Find your gaze point. Lower that right hip to the level of the left. Left hand to the right knee. Right arm reaches up. Deep inhale. And then turn the chest open towards the right. Right arm can reach behind you. Gaze can be forward, to the side, or to the back. And keep breathing here. Find that length from the left heel to the crown of the head. And keep the right knee lifted, but release the hand, unravel the center, reach up. And then release. Give the legs, the arms, anything that needs it, a little shake out here. And then when you're ready, you can come and find your mountain pose. And closing down the eyes, checking in with the body, and connecting with the breath. From your mountain pose, only when you feel ready to move again. And take an inhale breath, circle the arms up to the ceiling. And with your exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Halfway lift to lengthen. And plant your palms, step to plank pose. Deep inhale here. And lower all the way to the belly. One round of cobra, inhale breath. And then soften down. And tabletop with your inhale. And downward facing dog with your exhale. Before we go any further, it might be helpful to have your props nearby. So if your soft block or your hard blocks are out of reach, just bring them a little closer. And when you're ready with an inhale, lift the right leg up behind you. And with your exhale, we'll bring the right knee down just behind the right wrist. The right foot over to the left, any amount. And if you need to adjust that at all, then go for it. And setting up for a pigeon pose. If for any reason pigeon doesn't work, then thread the needle on the back or a deer pose. If you're coming with me, then just check in here. Maybe you're taking the left knee a little further back behind you. Whatever shin angle works best for you, then go for it. So don't worry about it being parallel to the top edge or anything else. Mindful that the right knee stays quiet. And then if the right hip is hovering, or if it feels like you're about to roll onto the right side, then it might help to prop that hip up a little bit with your soft block. I like to bring the weight back over the pelvis first, just to allow everything to settle in. You're welcome to stay upright here, or as you feel ready, you can start to walk the hands forward, maybe lowering down onto the elbows. The hard blocks can be underneath them if the floor is a little far away. Maybe you have space to lower the chest down. Maybe you're releasing the forehead onto a block. And finding your pain-free expression of the shape. And stay connected with your breath here. See if you need a little more time here, and you're welcome to stay. Otherwise, slowly lifting the chest back up. Walking the hands back in and tucking the back toes, bringing that back foot back in. Either release to a three-legged dog or a three-legged tabletop with that right leg in the air. It might feel nice to take some circles or maybe to bend and extend. Any other stretch that's part of your practice or you like to explore here, go for it. And when you're ready, you can come back to downward facing dog. We'll take a flow in between sides, so you're welcome to skip this and stay in down dog or come to child's pose. Or if you're with me, inhale forward to plank pose, and then lower down to the belly as you exhale. Untuck the toes, cobra, and lower down. And tabletop with your inhale, and down dog with your exhale. And take a couple deep breaths in your down dog and check back in. And when you feel ready with an inhale, lift the left leg up behind and then bring the left knee down behind the left wrist, left foot over towards the right. And this side may feel different, so maybe pigeon worked on one side and on this side you need to modify, so you can go for that. Right knee can shift a little further back behind. Maybe that left hip needs a little extra padding. And check in if anything else needs a little adjustment or a little more support. You can walk the hands in closer to the pelvis and tipping your weight back, helping to settle the hips. And staying upright. And whenever you're ready, you can come and fold over the front leg. And look for a similar sensation to the first side, even if the pose itself ends up looking a little bit different. And slowly walk the hands back in. And think about where you want to exit to, three-legged dog or three-legged tabletop. Making your way there as you're ready. Finding some movement to release the left hip, anything that feels good. When you feel ready, you can lower the left foot to the floor and then drop the knees down to the floor. And from your tabletop, you can bring the hips towards the heels. Take the knees nice and far apart, maybe having the soft block somewhere nearby. And then come partway down, so walk the hands forward a little bit. Left hand to center, and thread the right arm underneath the left, so you can bring the right side of the head and that right shoulder to the floor. A soft block for the head if it's not quite reaching. And then left hand can stay to the floor overhead, or you might bring the left hand on top of the right. Notice where the pelvis is, see if you can settle in nice and center. And breathe into your twist. And gently release the left hand back to the floor and unravel the spine back to center. You can take the right hand in center now, thread the left arm under, left shoulder, left side of the head, settle to the floor, hips grounded. And the right hand can stay, or you can bring right hand on top of the left to help brace. And find your twist here. And gently release the right hand back to center, unravel the spine, and see if it might feel nice to just go part way back towards the original side just to counter stretch. And then you can return back to midline. Walk the hands in up towards the knees. Come and find a kneeling shape for a few breaths. If this doesn't work, then swing the legs around to find a seat instead. Maybe the hands are on the lap. Take a moment just to lengthen the spine here. Soften the shrug muscles. Slight tuck of the chin towards the throat. Maybe close down the eyes. You're welcome to stay right here. Or if you want a little more counter stretch for the shoulders, see what it feels like to interlace the hands behind the back. If the hands don't quite reach, maybe the hands are at the hips instead. You can make this as intense as you like, so you can also squeeze the elbows a little closer together. You could take the fist a little further back behind you, maybe even lean back on it to lift the chest a little bit, and be where you need to be. Make sure that your body's happy with the shape. Awesome. And then release that and give the arms a little bit of a shake out. You can roll onto the bum and take the legs around, give them a little shake out as well. Awesome. If you like to have your blocks close by, they may come in handy one more time. And when you're ready, lower down onto your back. If you're using the blocks, you can take them over to the right-hand side. And then we're going to set up for a twist here. So you can take the left leg and wrap it around the right, and then scoot the hips over towards the left a little bit, lowering the knees down towards the right, and maybe the knees will land on your blocks. If for any reason this twist doesn't work for you, then feel free to take a two-knee stack twist or any other twist. And sometimes you need a little extra padding for that right hip, so if you have a blanket or if you want to fold your mat, you can do that. And see what arm expression you like, maybe do a T shape, or maybe that left arm is to the floor overhead, or hands on the body. If you like to take the gaze down away from the knees as well, you might take the gaze over towards the left. And let your body settle into the shape. And find that gentle flow of the breath. If the head is turned, you can bring it back to center. And either one or together, you can bring the legs back to center as well. Uncrossing the legs, scooting hips to midline. If the blocks were helpful, you can take them down towards the left now. Wrapping the right leg around the left, scooting the hips over towards the right, and then lower the knees down towards the left for your second side. And this side can look different to the first, so take your time to adjust anything that you need to find the arm expression that feels best for this side. Quieting down the body, and maybe taking the gaze over towards the right if you did so on the first side. With each inhale breath, maybe that sense of space. With each exhale, that sense of release.
And gently release the head back to center. And gently release the legs back to center. And once you've returned to midline, it might feel nice to windshield wiper the knees side to side. And then you can keep this going for as long as you like. And when you're ready, you can bring the knees into the chest. And separate the knees to reach through and catch hold of the feet, the ankles, or the shins for your happy baby. The feet can be pointing away from you or up towards the ceiling. The stillness or gentle rock side to side, anything else that feels good here. And keeping your happy baby for as long as it serves you. And when you're ready, you can release the feet down to the floor. And setting up for Shavasana, see what shape you'd like for today. You're welcome to come to a butterfly shape or have the legs extended down the mat. If you want to take a prop underneath the knees or the hips, if that feels like a nice release for the low back, then go for it. Now let the shoulder blades relax onto the floor. Let the arms be wherever they feel the most comfortable. If there's anything else that you need to adjust, go for it here. If there's any change that would help the body feel just a little more steady and comfortable, then go for it. And starting to quiet down the breath to its natural inhale and exhale. And let the body get heavy. Settle yourself in for your rest. Gently deepen the breath to reawaken the body. Wiggling the fingers and the toes. And perhaps extending the arms up overhead, giving yourself a full body stretch. And then when you're ready, you can roll down to one side and take a pause for a few breaths. And coming up to find a seat any way you like, any comfortable seated position, using any of the props you have around. And settling the hips, lengthening the spine, softening the shoulders. Take a moment to check in with the body here. Notice your breath. Hands can stay where they've landed or connect in front of the heart, maybe bowing the chin towards the chest. Thank you for sharing your breath and your practice today. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for Hatha Practice. And my name is Nicholas. If you have any questions, please reach out. Enjoy the rest of your week.